Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hello. We're so glad you could join us today. We're going to be winging it this year through the high and lows. Hey Aquarius, how you doing, honey?
Oh shoot, he's already here. What's up,
We are
Aquarius?
so glad you're here. I'm glad that you made it through those storms. A lot of people got hit, and it's cold. Okay, it's cold, and I don't care who
Yeah.
you are. It's cold all over because uh
Brr.
people in Arizona, in Phoenix, which is in northern and down in the valley, and they never get cold. Okay, well they got down to 32 degrees, and everybody was going to stores and buying space heaters like no tomorrow, to the point that stores were running out of them to keep warm. Hi, Alien. And
What's up, Alien?
um, down in southern Texas, they got a high of 26 degrees. I mean, this is crazy. So I'm hoping everybody is keeping warm. Um, I'm saying prayers for those that got hit with storms. You know, um, but at the same time, we gotta keep Betty White's theory on life going. Live life to its fullest, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We gotta prepare for the worst and pray for the best, and know how to function in between the good, the bad, and the ugly. Which whatever way it must be, we have to be able to do it. We have to be able to rock this show. We have
Yep.
to be able to rock life so that we keep on going. You know, um, we have to be ready, prepared, whatever you want to call it. Okay, to me, I have problems with labels, really, really bad, because I don't care if you're a homesteader. I don't care if you're a prepper. All right. The fact is, one label, you could be a farmer. Don't matter. I don't care. Okay? Because of the fact you have to know how to do a little bit of everything in order to function. All right? Even if you're just a god, no. You know, you have to be able to do more than one thing, because it's all part of doing what you're doing. Now, here's the thing. I know farmers that have done nothing. Sorry for coughing. But grown plants for their crops. Just a second. For their crops, they've grown flowers, man. And anyhow, um, it's just you know that's just one of the things. I know farmers that grow nothing but fruits, vegetables, olives, um, dates. The kind you go behind the tree and pick up. Um, hey, I learned that one from Mrs. Crocker of Simply Southern Crackers. I think that's their name. Anyhow, yeah, she showed us how when you go want to go pick up a date, you just walk behind the date tree and pick one up off the ground. But
That's your date.
yep, and she's a married woman, So she knows how to do this pretty good. Anyhow, it's like you've got. Damn.
Hey, what's up, Striker? Good morning. What's
Oh,
up, Ed?
this cough is getting to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. The heck?
This sinuses, trust me. And they've got to, of course, drip now.
Yeah, I don't like the drips at all. Noise the heck out of me.
Oh, well. I won. I got it out. Anyhow. Yeah, I cough until I get the phlegm out. Because I can hear it in there. And it just annoys you until you do. Anyhow, evil farmer said just grow nothing but cotton, which is, you know, made into, or it's cleaned and then it's spun and then it's woven and it's made into your t-shirts, your underwear, you know, all those fancy things that a lot
Fancy.
of guys like in more ways than one. But anyhow, I don't know what 2022 holds for any of us, but we're gonna wing it through this year, because it's hard to plan for anything, but it's easy to be prepared for everything and anything as best as you can to the best of your ability. Um,
Yeah, it's a runaway train never coming back.
yeah. So
Wrong way on a one-way track. That's pretty much what 2022 is gonna be. But it also can be good. I mean, it's what we make of it. There's always good and bad. I mean, even I'm saying that because I've been through it. So
yeah, we must never give up.
right.
We can't lose hope. We gotta always have our hope. Um, because if we give up, that's our downfall.
You just got to beware of the slinters. There's a lot of slinters in 2022.
Yeah, we gotta do what we can for ourselves and mosey on. You
Yeah.
know, waddle our way through it, like walking in a bog. Um, sometimes we're gonna have dry land, and sometimes we're gonna be in a marsh, and it's gonna be up to our knees, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, it's up to our chest. But then we'll hit dry land again for a while.
It's
You
gonna
know,
be quite the quagmire.
but we can't give up. And yes, we have splinters. You know,
Lots of slinters.
right? It's a cousin to slats.
Yeah.
You get you get splinters off of slats, baby. Okay. We have some more words like that for you guys to really make you giggle and wiggle and all that good stuff. Folks should be
Wiggle.
making their place work for them instead of them working for it. It should pay you in food and security, warmth and safety to start growing food. Yes, and not only that, you start out with the small gardens, and you get good with that small garden. The next year you add to it, and the next year, but all the way through this, I don't care if you're a seasoned gardener that gave it up and then go back to doing gardening. All the way through this, here's a very helpful hint. Save your seeds from your food that you grow because then you don't have to buy them. You'll know those seeds have adapted to your ground so that they will grow again, and you'll save money. And even if um you can't buy seeds, guess what? You'll still have them. I like that one. Yeah. Homeowners Association needs to mean homeowners
Well, you can always
agriculture.
do hydroponic. I mean, you don't always have to have a garden. You can do hydroponic inside.
Wait,
Blue
wait,
thing
wait,
and run.
wait, wait. There's somebody in our audience here in the chat room with a blue thingy who is very good with hydroponics.
Blue thingy.
Uh-huh. Would you like to know which one of our poor victims this is that I'm referring to?
I don't even know. I don't even see a blue thingy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Next to their name.
Oh, I'm in Streamyard chat. I'm
I
not on
know,
YouTube.
I know, I know, I know. But it's somebody you know too. And let's see, I can honestly say it's not Christy Sue Robbins. So you want to take a guess who it is?
Homestead.
Yep, it is Homestead, and he is very good with his hydroponic stuff. So, Mr. Aquarius, would you like to come up and talk about hydroponics and stuff like that? Or do you just want to
Feed yourself and Karen. Exactly.
container gardens? Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, you can grow shit out of a. Sorry, you can grow stuff out of a bucket. I mean,
You get those plastic yeah, dog food bags and that
yep.
pet food but pet food bags. You can grow stuff
Yep.
in it that way. So, you know,
Yep. You can grow stuff indoors. You don't have to have a nice big fancy garden. You can just grow stuff indoors. No one has to know.
Mr. Aquarius, if you would like to come on, all you need to do is um check your email. You'll have the link for you.
You can do a small hanging garden. There's all kinds of ways
Right,
that you
but
can grow stuff
Homestead,
indoors.
I know you're learning as you go, and that's awesome. But you know what? You're already an expert. Why do I say that? Because you're doing better than I am. I've never done it. My gardens are way down low, so I have to bend over, stand on my head to pull the weeds. Or do like I like to do. I make my rows far enough apart that I can take my lawn chair if I need to. Sit down in my lawn chair and pull my weeds out of the garden. Works pretty good. It's like when I harvest stuff too. Depending on what it is. You can't do that with squash and that, but you can pretty good with beans and other things like that,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Oh yeah.
and there are people that rent lots out from other people and it's areas where they allow people to rent area garden lots out, and you and other people each one has their own lots that they rent from the person that owns the land, and they grow their own food there that way. So there's
Yeah, there's
many
community gardens too.
there's many ways of growing growing food if you wanna grow it.
Oh yeah.
You just have to be willing to wanna do it. Give it a try. What are you gonna do? You're either gonna A, end up with some food, or B, the pot's too small and so you have to get a bigger pot to grow it, keep growing it, or C, screw up really bad somehow or another and not have anything grow. You know, I mean, you know, and no matter what, you're learning. If nothing grows, you can go, okay, what did I do wrong, and readjust it and try it again. Especially out in California, it don't really get too cold out there unless you're in the mountains, and you can always get heat lamps and all that stuff so you can grow inside. Ooh, we have a good man. Hello, hon.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
what is she up
Aquarius.
to now? God's night. How are y'all doing?
We're doing pretty good,
It's not
Aquarius.
bad.
How are you doing? You've been up late, I know.
Yeah, my schedule is I'm actually getting my schedule back where it needs to be, where I'm getting up in the morning instead of going to bed in the morning. Um, the YouTube lifestyle has led me down a pathway of staying up way too late, trying to catch up with too many people. Um,
Do you want to know how late I stay up?
LA.
God's night, what time do I quit talking to you at night? Usually.
Wait, what? Why am I being
Because
thrown?
you're usually the last person that I talk to before I call it and quits.
Oh,
She's like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna have God's night tell you. I was like, wait, what?
No, 10 o'clock. Usually.
Yeah, around
Usually as a
10.
rule of thumb. 10 o'clock. Why?
you've
Because
been
that's when I go to bed.
implicated.
Huh?
You done implicated God's night there.
Well, no, because he knows we talk, at night about whatever. Good, bad, and the ugly of how my day or his day or
Yeah,
whatever,
on average it's
you
10,
know.
but usually it's a little bit past 10.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll stay up until midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning. Ooh, not very
Well,
often.
I hadn't got my common sense level back to that point yet.
Yeah, I know
But
you've been in all the chat rooms at New Year's Eve. I've seen a lot of them.
last year I just about became allergic to live streams from last year's New Year's Eve marathons everybody was having. I was in so many of them, and it didn't go for one night. It went for like 2 days. And I was so burned out on live streams. I'll never go back to another one. Never. I'm done. Um, I don't know. I don't know who this good man is that just came in, but it ain't me. I'm just an old hillbilly. Um, I am. Um, I'm just this old guy struggling over here. Struggle Lakers. That's what I am.
If 1956 means anything to you, I know exactly how old you are. You're the same age as what my late husband would be, and you're not old.
I think I'm older than him.
Was you born in 1956?
No. I just kind of let people guess, let them come up with what they want to.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm every age.
Oh, okay. Well,
Uh,
at least we're safe. We know that you're over the age of 21.
I am over the age of 21. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I can sign my name on lots of things that get me in trouble.
People
But
have a
y'all,
tendency of being able to do that.
yeah, yeah. but you were talking about different ways of growing food, and you mentioned hydroponics, and now I have played with hydroponics in the past, and I intend to do more of it this year. But mainly it's aquaponics is what I want to really stretch out. But hydroponics, I don't know. There's whoever's watching this now or later, they may not understand the terms, but hydroponics is growing with water, and you add your nutrients to the water, and it's generally a man-made nutrient process. There are some natural ways that you can do hydroponics, having nutrients that are formed naturally. That gets a little more complicated, a little harder to work on. But hydroponics has the potential to make a tremendous amount of food very trouble-free inside your home, in a garage, in many places. It's, you just got to be able to supply light to them as well as the nutrients. Aquaponics counts on very much the natural process of your aquatic animals and their waste going to feed your plants after the middleman, which is bacteria, do the job of breaking down their waste into something that the plants can use and not kill them. And it can get a little more complicated because you've got all the problems of gardening and all the problems of maintaining aquatic life put together. Hydroponics can be incredibly productive and easy to get started in. Aquaponics is a little bit more difficult, but people can do something. It doesn't matter whether they are where they live. Okay, even if you're a child and you've got a bedroom with a window, you can grow some of your own food and help out the family, or just you. You can anything. All you need is soil, seeds, and sunlight and water, and you're growing food. Figure out how to work that out. But there's some great people out there doing things, and right now most of us are in that middle ground where the pain level is not that high yet, and so it hasn't struck home for everybody in the same way. The changing times that we live in, it's creeping in slowly, and more people will be waking up, as we go along, and hopefully realizing they need to do something for themselves, like grow their own food. That might let them have the ability to pay their rent. If you don't have to buy food, you can put that money to somewhere else. We got some difficult times coming.
Oh yeah.
And not too many people are seeing it. But they're waking up a little at a time. But the rubber ain't met the road for everybody.
No, but it's sure meeting the road a lot faster than what some of them are thinking,
Yes, it is.
or expecting it to have done, because they're already on the receiving end of it in more ways than one.
That's right. Some of them, it's done, smacked them right in the face, and they're faced with it. They lost their job. Their industry got moved offshore. Their industry went out of business. Whatever.
Yep.
They've had any number of things where now the money that they got in their hand just isn't going as far as it used to.
Right.
The rent's going up. The price of everything is going up. So many people are waking up now to where things are growing up. The price of everything is going up across the board. but they're not putting two and two together and acting on that. They're like deer in the headlights. They're
Yeah.
frozen.
Well,
Um,
not just that, but when it really sinks in is when it's, as the old saying goes, a little too late, because when it's knocking at your door, smacking you in the face with 2x4 or whatever,
Yeah.
it's a little bit too late, and you're like the deer in the headlights then. However, you snap out of that real fast and you start going, okay, I can't do things this X, Y, and Z way anymore. How can I do that stuff that I used to do X, Y, and Z
Yeah.
and still be able to do things? You know, I
Yep.
mean, back in the day, if you had a yard, okay, the majority of your yard wasn't grass.
That's right.
They had gardens, and they weren't just flower gardens either, man. But some of them, they did grow flowers, because some of the flowers for medical um reasons why they had them. And then they had herbs gardens, and then they had their vegetable gardens, and they had fruit orchards, you know.
Hmm.
And this is just in town. They
Yeah,
didn't
that's
really
right.
have yard to go sit out in and twiddle their thumbs, you know.
Yeah. When I was a kid, when I was very young,
Oh, he was
it
young.
was yeah, back in the 20s. Okay. No,
Okay. You were
it
funny.
was in my part of the world and my demographics. It was a sin to have a yard almost. You know, if you had a yard, that was something that only the rich people had and everything like that. Our yard was beat down dirt with weeds every once in a while poking up and chickens running around everywhere, chickens, ducks, and everything else.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That was our yard. Um, and it was a hard life. Um, it didn't have to be quite as hard, but you know, my grandparents, they were pretty old school about lots of things. Um, Having a yard is not a sin, but you know, back then that was part of a lifestyle that they were not a part of.
Well, it's kind of like, because of the way things are going right now, and they are going to continue to go, um, we got push mowers. Remember those things?
Oh
Those are
yeah,
from back in your time.
yeah.
Wait,
I
from back in my time too. So okay.
I
Anyhow,
love my old push mower, my old reel mower. I loved it.
oh yeah,
No
and
gas, no oil, just
right,
sweat.
right, and it, everybody says, but it's the sound. It's the sound. Okay, how hard is it to push something that's cutting your grass, and you go, vroom, zing, vroom. Oh, you want a 0 point,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sound effects.
The
Sound effects
sound.
sells it all.
Yeah,
I'm good with no sound from a lawnmower.
You know.
I don't like power equipment. I don't like it. Um, I like hand tools
Uh huh.
and manual equipment. Get my
Uh huh.
exercise that way.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like him. Can I keep him? Oh wait, I live in his knee pocket. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
you're
guess I
always in
can.
my knee pocket. Cause me to walk sideways sometimes. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, it's because I when the owner of this house paid to have the house painted, um the painters kind of got a shock out of me, because hi
Hey,
Craig,
Greg.
they the UPS man was coming, and I'm like, my tools are coming, my tools are coming, you know, and these painters were like, okay, it's a lady, and she's getting tools. It's gonna be something lady-like tools, or
Uh,
something ladies do. Could be knitting needles, who knows? And the UPS man came, and I put my boxes down, opening up, flipped open my toolkits, and I says, See, I got tools.
Who needs some dental work?
And
Who needs dental work?
they were looking they were looking over my drill bits, and they're like, the one guy's, look, she's got golden tips tools there. The kind you gotta have to go through cement and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And, dang, those are some good tools. And then he says, oh, too bad you don't have one of those old hand crank drills. And I says, wait a minute. And I reached in the other box and I says, you mean like this? They still make those?
Wait a minute, there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys are like, holy cows, look at that. Look at that one there. That's a daggone good tool there, man. It's made by a good company in America. She ain't messing around here. And I just looked at him and went, I told you, I'm the kind of girl that if you get excited, let me near manual tools. I can probably tell you and show you how to use them right. It's like, yeah, I still got to get the hand cleaner, the old fashioned one. And I've got to, what is the other thing? It popped in my head and I went there instead. Oh, I know what the other thing was. I could show you how you could take two or a block, okay, a rectangle or a square block, and I can show you how you can take a piece of your sandpaper. Don't matter which grid you want, whatever grid. I can make one for each grid that you got, okay? Because one will take off wood faster, the other one is a little softer, and the next one is real fine. All right? I know these things. And I can show you how to take a piece of block wood and put a little bit of dent in, cut in the sides of it evenly, and then take and cut your piece of sandpaper and slide the ends in through them little dents that I cut in the side of your block wood, and you now have a sander. Ta-da! I'm magic.
I like that kind of woman.
I could be available for adoption.
I'm up for adoption.
I said I could be. But yeah.
Might as well be. There's no such thing as could be. Either you are or you are not. Let's just make it easy.
Well, if I say I am, then it really sounds like I'm really easy. I can't be that easy because the guys like the chase. All right, just saying.
Yeah,
Just
but not
because I
now.
stand,
Too
just
late for
because
a
I,
chase.
just because I hide behind the date tree, stick my foot out and trip them.
See, there you
Don't
go.
mean
See,
it,
now
it
that's
don't
giving
mean
you
that
the
I'm
game.
being easy. It just means I'm making him stop to breathe.
That's a good way to play hard to get.
You gonna
Right?
get me laughing in here now.
That's okay.
Nay,
Laughter is good for you.
you get me saying stuff that don't need to be said. Hello, Craig's cabin. And let me say hey to Crazy Ed's homestead. He done went, got cold, had to come back in the house. I've been
Yeah.
watching it cold march across the nation, and it's cold out there right now.
Uh-huh.
Cold,
It's that cold that you want to bundle your up really, really good.
dang right.
Because like I said earlier, Phoenix, Arizona, okay, they got down to 32, and they had people going to the hardware stores and buying space heaters like no tomorrow, buying them out, running the stores out because it got that cold. And down in southern Texas, it got the high or down to 26 degrees.
Mm.
Well, guess what? Missouri, it ain't gonna be a heat wave.
No, I think they got single digits there right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's going to go below
And
freezing here.
and not only that, don't forget the wind chills. Those wind chills, your temperature can be like 2 above, but you got it in the wind chill.
That's right.
We've got sub-zero temperatures. We've got 20 to 30 below zero wind chills. Oh yeah, it's a heat wave of cold.
Oh, no.
And it's like that all over.
Yeah.
All over. And then you got people that's gotten hit with the tornadoes and they're getting snowstorms. And look at Colorado. they had that fire out there, which wasn't started by electrical downwires. Just saying, you know. And they found that out. They figured that out. Gee, I wonder who it was that started it. I mean, how it started. Anyhow, they got snow out there. The people got
Hmm.
burned out of their homes and got snow. And the snow
Hmm.
was what put the fires out. Well, guess what? Those people are now trying to figure out how the heck they're going to live and where they're going to stay and stuff and how they're going to get by.
It
You know.
happens every day. You know,
Yep.
the
And what
people.
about the people down in your area? You know, like um Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, Tennessee, that's gotten hit with the tornadoes. South Carolina, North Carolina, you know,
Yeah.
they've gotten hit by trust me, I know what I'm talking about,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. And
Tornadoes are a thing.
yeah, you don't. The worst thing is a nader in the dark because you
Oh
can't
my
see them.
God.
I've been through
Tornadoes at
one.
night are just terrifying.
Uh huh.
They are. You can't see them coming. Um, most of the time, people are asleep, and the danger from nighttime tornadoes
The
is
flying
really really
debris.
bad. It's bad.
Yeah, it's the flying debris.
I mean, it's everybody's asleep most of the time, you know, and you can only stand guard so long for most people, and you can't see them. But at nighttime, tornadoes catch many victims. Um, they're terrifying to me.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
but it's a part of life here, and
it's a
so
part. It's a part of life here too, hun.
yeah,
Except for normally, we don't have tornadoes in December. And a
yeah.
couple weeks ago in Iowa, they had 56 tornadoes hit one night.
Oh,
Yep.
well, this is our second season. We have spring, and then we have winter most of the time, or fall when everything gets so chaotic, and we can have some very bad tornadoes in the fall season. And people, especially people that move here from somewhere else, they don't realize that. But first off, anybody moves to the southeast, they're not used to tornadoes. It's like if they come in from the west coast, especially, or somewhere way up north, and they move down to the southeast, tornadoes are something that is not something that they're used to. You know, um, a little scary for them. I mean, for people that grew up, in tornado country, you just kind of become numb to it. I guess like anywhere else, if there was earthquakes or fires or landslides or violence, whatever it is, you get used to it.
No,
Um,
you don't.
Yeah, he just described California, but it's an everyday thing here. How you just
that's
described
right.
those four things.
Yeah, yeah,
Tornadoes is not something that you ever get used to.
yeah.
You know.
That, well, I mean, not when it hits you. It's just that your mind and your spirit has to deal with it. Because and you come to a place where you understand that's part of life.
Well, you
You
accept it,
know?
yeah. You accept
Yeah,
it because you can't say, "Oh, well, big deal, it's a tornado," or like, "Oh my God, it's a tornado." You just have to accept that, like you guys are saying, and I agree. It's just everyday life. It's just part of life. You cannot
yeah,
say, "Oh, that's a tornado." Nah, it's not gonna hit me. You can't dismiss
yeah,
it because you always have that chance. So you just gotta accept the
You
inevitable.
right.
yeah.
You accept it, but you also prepare for in case.
Well, of course you have to
Oh,
prepare.
You know.
absolutely. Yeah, you
Yeah.
you try to prepare for it. Now I say that, and I am unprepared because I do not have a below ground shelter.
Um, I hate to tell you, when Oklahoma got hit with the tornado several years ago, like 12 years ago, something like that. In 2012, okay, we'll see. That's when they got hit. Um, those people only had slabs for the bottom of their house.
That's right.
Oklahoma made it mandatory and passed the law that they have to put storm shelters up. storm shelters. You've seen those cement bathrooms at parks and stuff?
Yeah.
That's a storm shelter.
Yeah.
Okay? They're above ground. You do not have to have it down under. It's got a lot of rebarb in it,
That's
a lot
right.
of cement, a lot of bricks, a cement slab on the bottom, and a cement slab on top.
Yeah. And generally speaking, I mean, that's going to be a good place. You can make reinforced structures above ground that will survive the winds of a tornado. Now, if that tornado picks up a semi truck and then treats it like a lawn dart and it comes down on the thing, which is a highly unlikely event, then that is those rules no longer apply, and it's you're gonna take damage. I always uh, want to have a place underground, and I've got to build that, because underground, I don't worry about it. If it's anything above ground, I do. But you can build a shelter above ground that will work just fine, short of
Yeah, it's up to you, Striker.
picking up a semi and throwing it up against it, which happens, but not. You're safe in an above ground tornado shelter. Is what my take would be.
Right.
But I have the options to have one here that is below ground, and I can use that for more than just being a shelter.
Right.
It root cellar and blah blah blah. You name it. If it's below ground, it's a wonderful thing for many reasons.
Well,
I just don't have that.
at least you're not like in Florida, where everything's below sea level or at sea level, because then your root cellar would become a flood cellar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I gotta remember that one.
The coast side of California is exactly the same. A lot of it, most of the coast of California is below sea level.
Now, believe it or not, but there was a village here in Iowa that was at sea level, and we still had basements and stuff there. You didn't have to dig down too far, and you always struck water, so you didn't need to worry about thirsting or anything like that. But there was a creek and a river that went through it.
God's Night just said something. Where are you, toward the southern part of California or the northern?
Central California.
Okay, so you're in like Central Valley area, is what they call it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because there is that huge depression there that runs the north and south, and that there was the Salton Sea being at the southern end of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and all that was drained out. And yeah, that would be below sea level.
Yeah, the valley used to be filled with water at one time.
Mm-hmm.
A whole valley. That would be just under half the whole state underwater.
Yeah, that's where they started growing all the gardens and farms and everything. Now, the Salton Sea, that was originally freshwater, wasn't it? And then it concentrated into a saltwater basin, right?
Yep. It concentrated into that because of man-made reasons and also natural, because there's heavy volcanic activity there.
Right, and it ended up closing in the spill, the exit, and trapped the water.
But with what we have in the future, people, it's just going to be, from everything I'm seeing, this coming year, there's going to be a lot more people suffering and waking up to what's going on, and people are not ready to do the thinking that's required. They need to be thinking about this, and right now, the ones that are fortunate enough to still have to not be in a fight daily for survival, they need to think, okay, it's not bad right now. How am I going to spend my energy on hoping and wishing and keep treading water the way I have been, or taking the available energy that I have now to shrink down my lifestyle to where I don't need that much to survive. That is what I did years ago. Instead of trying to maintain myself on a treadmill, and I was losing ground every day in every way, I looked at the common things that I needed, what the humans need all across the planet. They need food, water, and shelter. So I set about my life to design that to where it took me very little of the middleman of money in order to do that. Okay. And then I would be able to live and survive and do what I need to do and have leftover energy to do other things. That was important. And those decisions that I made back then, you know, those decisions I made back then have helped me along the way now.
Right.
Y'all forgive me. I tend to talk a lot.
No, that's okay.
Cool. No,
We're-
we were looking at chat, Homestead.
We were looking at
you're fine,
chat.
dude. You're
Chrissy
fine.
said, Chrissy goes, funny, forget to hit the thumbs up. And
That's right.
I said to her, I said, Chrissy Sue, don't you mean don't forget to hit the thumbs up button?
Yeah, animal fat in general is good for you. I mean,
So, yeah, she says, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. So
yeah, you don't want that process.
I was joking
You just
around
want a
with her.
regular... Sorry, JT, go ahead.
Well, you know, bread
Hey,
is
NC
good.
girl.
Fat, salt, and sugar are three things that are hard to come by in a natural, primitive world. You just don't find it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can get the natural source. I mean, and I know you know it, Aquarius. I mean, if you grow fruits, even some vegetables, you'll get the natural sugar out of them, just eating them.
Oh,
If
that's
you need,
right.
If you need the sugar, you know, because
That's right.
yeah, because that stuff has natural sugar that we should be eating. The less complex carbohydrates and sugars that plants and vegetables produce compared to corn syrup and all that garbage that our bodies do not process naturally.
That's exactly right.
You mean
The
sugar from the
fructose.
sugar cane
Exactly. And I love
but,
eating those. I love munching on sugar cane.
but
and
in
maple
nature, it's
syrup
hard to find. It's
and
hard to
honey?
find year round.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I get what
hard
you mean.
to get sugar and fat and salt year round in the scenario where you're dropped off with your knife and you're naked in the woods and they say, hey, go survive. Well, sugar, fat, and salt are three things that are difficult to come by.
Hi, Big
And that's
Matt.
all your struggle. Blackberries and everything like that are available only in a flush in the first of the year. After that, it becomes difficult. Honey is a great food source, but it's got its danger level to get to.
Yep.
Anything that carries around protein and fat for you to eat doesn't want you to eat it. So all of these things are, it's like caveman mentality and lifestyle. You know, it's hard out there. And a lot of people think, well, they make people make two mistakes. One of them is they think that they've got to wait for some big event, you know, for them to do something. Daily events come along all the time at a personal level, and anything that we're talking about will help anyone get through their life in a better fashion. They can survive layoffs, they can survive sicknesses, they can survive so many things. Just hang out at the house, you know. The middleman of money is the worst beast that is on us. What you produce on your own that you normally have to go buy without that need for money or someone close to you that makes it, that's where you're that's where you benefit and get ahead in life.
Yep.
But they think that when the second thing is they think that when this big event happens that they're just going to take their bug out bag and go to the woods and survive and all that. And they're not. They're going to be within 3 or 4 days, they're going to be looking for somebody to save them most of the time. And in a week, they'll be starving and they'll do whatever they're told. But they also forget that there's a whole city full of people around them. And if they all go out into the woods, it's all going to be gone. There won't be a squirrel or a rabbit or a deer or a tuber or a blackberry to be found. Not to mention, they forget all the eyes in the skies. In the event of a large catastrophic thing happening in our country, we will be managed like cattle, as if we already are. Only this will be the cattle that's escaped the farm. But they'll be doing it from many miles above the Earth's surface, looking down on us, and they will see every heat signature that's down here. They will know everybody that has made it out to the woods and what they're doing and where they're going. Easy to round up just by your heat signature alone on a thermal imaging satellite. Not to mention your cell phones, which is a radio collar for all the animals. They're going to know. And they've already made it illegal at a federal level to go camping in the woods where, like a state park or any kind of federal land. They've made it constitutionally illegal to do that. You got to be in an approved campsite. So the government is not going to let you do that. It's not going to happen. People's best chances of survival is what they can do on their own place, if they have land or if they don't, and in their own associated groups, to survive. Maybe you don't have land, but maybe your friend does or your family does. And so it's that kind of thing that will allow people to survive, not bugging out. A bug out is simply to go from one place to another place.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave a good definition on bugging out, dude. Because a lot of people think, "Oh, I'm just gonna escape the city, and where do I go after that?" They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. They don't have a fallback. Nothing. They have nothing. They just like, oh, they told me to get my bag ready and find a way out, and then, oh wait, what do I do after that?
Yeah, they got a ferro rod, and they're like, okay, I've got my ferro rod. I know how to start fires. Okay, that's great, but you're dumb in that factor too. Make sure that you buy plenty of lighters, cigarette lighters, because in any survival situation, you want it to be easiest, you know. And a true survivalist is not going to sit there with a flint and steel. They're going to flick their bick and get it going.
Or some
No.
windproof, waterproof matches.
Some people that know how to get by, they will use their flint and steel. They will use a magnifying glass. There are other ways of doing it.
Well, the thing is having
they
the
won't
knowledge.
Be using they won't be using the lighters necessarily. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, well, in long-term survival situations that last years, and there's no hope of anything that looks like any type of recovery, and we're in an post-apocalyptic world,
There's always the bow method.
But certainly, now my point has always been learn how to do all of these things in an old school way, because maybe you don't smoke, maybe you're in a situation where you're outfitted perfectly for everything, but you find yourself in a survival situation where you don't have any of that, like with Castaway, where Tom Hanks' character went down and he's got to figure out how to make fire. Mm-hmm. He didn't have the skills. He didn't know how to do that. And he tried and tried and tried and finally was able to.
Right.
But the knowledge.
That's another thing. People that don't know, at first, even if they do, and they've not done the stuff that they know, but they've got a good understanding of how to do something.
Mm-hmm.
At first, they're going to be slow. Okay, it's
Yeah.
not going to be anything to have a foot race to do. Okay, everybody's going to be slow at it when they're first starting out. But you know what? The more times you do it, the faster you get at doing whatever. All right, it's kind of like putting a nail in. You let that hammerhead hit that nail 3 times and it should be in. And I don't care
Mm-hmm.
how long your nail is.
Yeah.
You know, um, cutting a tree down with an axe. You know, splitting wood with an axe. Yeah, at first you start out, you're wobbling and weebling because why? You're just starting out. So it's like a baby taking baby steps. They're
Yeah.
learning how to get that right foot in front of that left foot type deal. And a baby can have the best foot race that anybody can have just against its own 2 feet, you know, but that baby don't give up.
Yeah.
Well,
See,
guess what? You don't either, you know?
the knowledge of how to do things the way that it worked for thousands of years is the common denominator, uh, survival things that people need to put in their head. You can learn all of this stuff and learn it well, and it's there for you. You can take it out of your mind at any time and use it and teach it to your children. I've done that. I can survive without a lighter and all this kind of stuff. I can do that.
Yep.
It ain't easy, and but I can do that. But in today's world, I mean, you want to have the knowledge, but you don't want to have to rely on that. If you do find yourself soaked, you fell in the water, or whatever, and you got to get out, or maybe your child fell in the water and it's freezing, and it's just a normal day. Y'all went out for a weekend, and your kid just fell in the water, and hypothermia is a real issue. You got
Yep.
to get him warm. You got to make a fire. You're not going to sit there with damp tinder and all this kind of stuff trying to start a fire in an old school way. If you've got a lighter and some gasoline, even, you're going to get your kid warm as fast as possible. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Now
And
here's another thing, okay? You can use pine needles, put them in a coffee cup.
uh-huh,
You can use pine cone, put them in or not a coffee cup, put them in a coffee can, an empty coffee can. Grandpa used to have them around for a reason.
that's
It's like
right.
the little cans in little baby jars, glass baby jars, where the lid was hooked on a board and nobody could figure out why. Well,
Yeah.
Grandpa kept nuts, bolts, and screws and nails in them things.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid. But you take, a coffee can and you shove it full of pine needles. All right. You take another one and you put pine cones in it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You already have your starter for your fire. All right. And then you take your twigs, your little twigs, and get them going on top of it. And then you add a little bit bigger ones, and a little bit bigger ones, and before you know it, you got a quarter of a log. Okay. And before you know it, you got a half a log. Before you know it, you got a whole log sitting there eating your butt. But if you get cold and you fall in the water, or somebody falls in the water, or frostbitten, do not put their hands in lukewarm water, or even warm water. You take and you wrap that hand up in like a scarf, and you can wrap the other one with it. Okay, so you've got layers of scarf around both those hands and in between them, and then you rub the outside of the scarf. The heat will go in, and it will cause their hands to not have trauma, and they won't have nerve damage from like they get if you stick it in tap right out of the water or warm water.
Mm.
Yeah.
You are a source of so much knowledge that people need to learn. They need to learn all that, because that's where the rubber meets the road. It's that kind of information that'll keep people safe. Um, they need to learn all of it. When we were in the scouts, that's what we taught our young scouts, this kind of stuff. But
You
the
know,
more knowledge they have,
and
the better off you are.
if somebody falls in water, yeah, you strip their clothes off. You hang their clothes up. You get that fire going. You hang their clothes up so their clothes dry, but you cover them in blankets and let them, get their bodies warm. Put wool blankets underneath of them. I don't care how many you got to do, and cover them up, and then encase them like a sleeping bag, okay? And then, believe it or not, I don't care what sex you are. If you need to, curl up, take your clothes off, curl up next to them. Serious,
Well, yeah, it
because
doesn't
your
even have to
body
be
heat.
sexual. It's just
Right, your body
survival.
heat's going to help warm them
You know,
up too.
and that's the mindset people got to get out of. Oh, well, we got to sleep naked. No, we're not sleeping. We're just keeping warm. I mean, I could stay awake and cuddle up next to you just to stay warm. It doesn't mean that we're gonna, do stuff.
Right. Hi, Okie Dan.
Yeah, it's a book.
Um, what we're saying is, and this is if they're sick and they got a fever. Yeah, I know. That's how the black plague got, and the what was that other one? The yellow fever. You know, because somebody would take care of somebody that had it, and then they'd end up getting it. But you know what? A lot of times they got them through it too. And hi,
Hey,
Fishing
what's
with
up, Doc?
Doc. Um, a lot of times they just gave them aspirins, and that aspirin's what got them over it. You know.
Yeah,
If we
the
freezing and we got
anti-inflammation.
to share, we're freezing and we got to share body heat. I'm gonna be the big spoon, okay?
All right.
Just putting that out there. I'm big spoon now.
Okay.
All right.
I'll let you spoon. I mean, I'll let ya, huh?
The big
That's
spoon.
why I'm good in the pocket,
Big Dipper, Little Dipper.
because that way he's always keeping me warm. I'm in his leg pocket.
Yeah, another thing, because what I'm seeing in chat between NC and Ed is, since we're talking about survival stuff, vetting is very important. I mean, I'm not gonna let people on my land that I don't know. Yeah, I may give them a spot just because it's hospitality, but vetting is very important because you might have people that might want to take what you got.
Right.
It doesn't matter how nice or how gentle they seem. It could always be a facade, a front. So, I mean, I appreciate you giving me a spot, but at the same time, I would expect you to vet me. Ask me questions, find out a little bit more that you can about me. Don't be too personal, but you can also be slightly invasive without being obvious. But not many people can do that. But I'm just saying, you have to vet people. You can't just say, "Oh, yeah, I got land and everybody's welcome," and then, well, the
No,
opposite can happen. You're inviting me to what? To take what I got by slowly making me feel comfortable. I have to vet you too. I mean, vetting is very important. That's what I'm saying.
exactly. And you gotta be careful because you never know. You know, just because you let this person in, don't mean that person isn't curled up with these people over here, and
Right.
they're waiting for y'all to go to sleep, so he can let them in, and then they're gonna take everything that the whole camp's got. You know, I'm not saying they would, but
Right.
I'm
That's
saying
what I'm saying too. I'm not
keep
saying
your
they would,
guards
but
up.
there's always a good chance.
Yep, it's just one of those things. You
Generally
gotta.
speaking, after a disaster, generally speaking, in any kind of bad situation, prolonged situation, it's the worst of human behavior that will come out
Exactly.
fastest and easiest and the strongest.
Correct. I'm not worried about the bears and
Tigers and lions,
wolverines
oh
and
my.
badgers, dude. I'm worried about the humans. That's what I'm more. That's where my main concern would be: the other humans, the other people, because they'll turn feral quick.
Well, they always said, that mild mom, you know, when all hay breaks up, becomes the most dangerous person there is. because she's going to want to feed the cubs that she's got, you know?
Yeah, well, of course. A mother will die protecting her young before her young die.
That's one thing. I was lucky when Chrissy was a little bitty tyke. I was taught how to skin a rabbit. And because you know how to skin a rabbit, you can skin any animal there is. Now, when you skin an animal, you also need to get that hide of theirs off in as one piece the best you can. And so you're going to have to practice doing it, but you can do it. And then you take and you make that skin, that hide, into leather. And then you have to learn how to make patterns of whatever it is that you want to make with that leather.
Yep.
You have to figure out, do you want leather that or holes in your leather that you can sew with a uh aug or an awl, or do you want the holes that you have that you can use to sew it with leather lace? Two different kinds of holes, two different kinds of tools that you use for it. And you have to figure out how to sew it together so it stays together. You have to figure out how to oil your leather so that your leather will last you. You know, hi Hawkins Hills. Um, it's
Hey,
just
Hawkins.
it's just one thing into another. And oh, by the way, that animal that you just took this hide off of, and you're making it into leather. I hope you didn't waste any of the meat, and I hope you know how to take the bones of that animal and make tools with it, so you don't waste any part of the animal. You know. And by the way, I'm back here at Caveman. I'm still trying to figure out because Homestead Aquarius said back when cavemen were and they were naked and trying to go out and hunt and all, that wouldn't be a problem. The animals would look at me, start laughing, and fall over dead. Oh well, I'd at least get food. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could, hey, it's a doable lifestyle.
Oh, I know it is.
It would be hard and everything, but again, not to perpetuate the myth that that's going to be possible for everybody. It's just not. Um,
Right.
and if we you deal with different scenarios, okay, and a lot of them involve, the cities being a death trap and everybody leaving them. When that happens, everything is gone. The Golden Horde scenario, they will go out into the woods, everything will be gone, wild game of all kinds won't be able to be found. I mean, anything edible would be gone. I mean, you're talking about a bad day for humanity across the planet, probably in these situations. But what they faced in Venezuela and what they still face in Venezuela and many other countries throughout our history, they're isolated. Those folks are stuck there, just like in Haiti. Um, so, how do you survive in those situations? Venezuela is a good example of what's going on, or Haiti. You better have yourself a group of people. You better have some type of land that you control. And you better make the most use of that land that you control as possible. That's where your highest chances of surviving and thriving in a decent fashion are. Um, unless you are like if you're in the Yukon, if you are in Canada, Alaska, and surviving there away from people at all, then you've got a chance. But it depends on whether or not other people can get to you. Any place that's warm year round is going to be a problem with people. There's different scenarios. And the most likely one in my mind is this slow progression with little events that pop on about the economic collapse. We're in the middle of the start of it now, and we have been for a decade.
Yeah.
Because people don't notice it. Now it's getting down to where it's noticeable, and people say, "Oh, there's something wrong." Well, there's a lot of us that knew that something was wrong 2 decades ago, and we started to prepare for it.
Right.
And that's where we are now. Now the music is stopping, and people need to have a seat. Okay, they're not going to have a place to sit down. They're not going to have a way to survive, and they're going to become, a problem for society, quote unquote, and they'll be treated as such. You don't want to be in that position. You want to right now look at your options and form a plan for yourself and your family. That's what people need to be doing right now. Get the old knowledge. Use the modern tools that are available. If you've got a place at all, whatever your position is, you need to be growing some food. You need to be thinking of these things. You need to learn how. Learn how to keep a plant alive to the place that it produces you some food and seed for next year. And people don't know how to do that. They need to get out there and do that. They need to do it now. While they may have an extra, 10 or 20 or $100 to spend on some seeds and a few things to help them do that. That's what they need to be doing right now. And it needs to be all across every demographic and no matter where they live. And they need to be shrinking back their lifestyle and what they need as far as their expectations to have a life that is acceptable for them. They need to get small now and not have so many needs. Those that can do that and pull back from the system or from the many systems that we have are going to be better off.
There is actually 2 categories. All right? 2 categories. It's kind of like there's only 2 kinds of sex, male and female. This is different. This is financial. There's 2 categories. The must have, and then the I want, I'd like to. The must haves are things you have to survive.
That's right.
The I wants, those are optional, okay?
Yep.
I want a new refrigerator that talks to me and tells me when I need to get things that's attached to my cell phone because I don't know how to open the door up and look to see if, oh, am I out of eggs yet? Oh, okay. Do I need to get milk or bread? Oh, okay. Do I need to
Yep.
get laundry for my washer? Oh, wait. That's another I want because your washer and dryers aren't going to be working if there ain't no electricity.
Right.
If they have their way, there ain't gonna be, you know. But I must have. Those are the more important things.
Yeah, needs versus wants. It's
Yes.
an old thing there.
That's why I said there are 2 categories. The must have and the I wants.
That's right. And right now, there are people on this planet, so many of them, that are not even having their needs met. They're starving to death or they're freezing to death. And you see, that's what it comes down to. In our country, in all of our past history, we had people that struggled just to get their needs met every day throughout the centuries. That was the fight to survival. And people need to think as long as their needs are met, they're really rich because that allows you to continue on to a new day. It's a everyday thing. If you survive that day, you've got another chance tomorrow. And in that way, you're rich. because a lot of people are denied that every day.
Well, not just that. You let all hey break loose.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of so-called rich people,
Mm-hmm.
like lawyers and such, that are going to be penniless. Bankers too. Just
Yeah.
saying. They're going to be penniless. They're going to go from the rich to the poor. They're going to be equal to all of us, poor people. Okay? Now, there is a theory I have, and I've taught this to my children and to my grandchildren. Okay? Money can't buy you love. Not all things shimmer and sparkle and shine are gold. Not all gold shimmer, sparkle, and shine either. And you can be the richest person in ways that money can't touch. You can be rich in love, you can be rich in family, you can be rich in knowledge, you can be rich in being yourself, being true to yourself. You can be rich because you're willing to help each other and work together and help an older person that needs a little help to get something done that they normally would do if they were younger by themselves. You know, you're rich in ways that money can't touch. And not only that, if you use the barter system, ain't nobody got to have any money, but you do have to make good deals. And if you don't, and you try ripping somebody off, your name will become mud, and it will get around so doggone fast, and nobody going to want to do business with you. Just so you know.
That's exactly right. That's that old school way of thinking and way of life that people really need to get back to. And the middleman of money, that's how the bankers get rich. That's how they turn us into their cattle. Um, and they do it through the ad campaigns. It's like, you need this big house, you need this new car, you need this, and make you feel bad if you don't have it. Well, just get away from all of that thinking. You
Yeah,
know,
people. Yeah, I agree. People became consumers rather than producers.
hmm and it's not so that our dreams can come true. It's so that their dreams can come true.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you spend you're gonna spend your life either making your dreams come true or someone else's. It might as
Yeah,
well be yours.
yeah,
But most of the time, our multiple generations that have come along as children, they they get started into this system at a young age and taught what the system wants them to become, and so they they believe this stuff. And because we're herded along the way, generationally speaking, into a lifestyle that does not benefit us, it benefits them. Um,
What if I told you children in daycare,
mhm.
children in Head Start, all the school's job is to do, even that young with children, is to get the children ready for the workforce. Not to
Exactly.
educate them. It's not to educate them.
or prepare. Yeah, it's not
It's
preparing them
just
for a
to
life of
prepare
adulthood.
them to go to work and do work and do work and do work. And then, hey, when you die, guess what? Oh, well, Bob died. Yeah, we'll get Charlie in here. We'll replace Bob with Charlie.
Yeah, drones.
Yep.
Drones are being created, not individuals.
That's exactly right. See something, say something. It's a system that's built upon all of us, and they build it into us,
Yeah,
and they train us from the very beginning. And there's very few people that get out of that training, and that's what it's going to require to be more than just a simple drone in it and actually get your life back. Um, I worry about that with my children, but you know, they're just the next generations of people to come along. Um, it,
Sean, there better
well,
not be anybody talking about anybody needing to dox anybody. It's not allowed in this area or on this channel. Just saying. Yeah, I'm watching your guys' chats. Because that ain't what we do here. We're here to educate. We're here to learn from you. You know, we're trying to help you. We're trying to make you part of this deal. So,
No, he's not saying he's gonna dox. I think
well, I'm not saying
uh,
he is. I'm saying anybody that thinks about doing that. Not in this chat room.
because we were talking about vetting earlier.
Yeah.
That doxing is not vetting. That's prying.
Yep.
yeah, properly vetting out people is very important if you're talking about having any group of people around you,
Right.
because you can. I mean, okay, we're talking about right now when these are still the good old days. These days are still good compared to what I think is coming, and maybe I'm being a little bit pessimistic. There's also good things. For everything good, there's also the opposite of bad. So there's going to be good people to help out, and there's going to be bad people to hurt you. And it's always been that way. It's a balance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, and you got to decide where your energy is going to be spent. Um, you know, how are you going to do? What are you willing to do? And we already see right now in our society when things are good, the ways that they will fall to and what they will do when things are good and options are plenty. So when things start getting bad and their options are lessened, what will their behavior be? And how many more will fall to lesser morals is basically, the thing is, it's just going to get worse. Morality and ethics are no longer what they were, in a more romanticized age of the past. But,
They haven't been like that for a long time already.
yeah, the
It's
shifting
just
baseline has gone down.
it's just that a lot of people think that if they're off grid, that it's an easy lifestyle. Well, no, it's not. But I'm
It's
gonna
as
tell you
easy as you
something.
make it.
Yeah. With
Yeah.
the knowledge
And
you
not
have,
only
it's
that,
easier.
it's a lot more relaxing lifestyle. Okay? Um, it's more peaceful. But if you want to give up when you're trying to do something, make a homestead, and you want to give up, well then, you give up. But if you want to show and prove to yourself, and the heck with proving to other people, prove to yourself that you can do it, you're going to keep at it and you're going to do it. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like a woman washing clothes without a wash machine that's electric. You know? She can either wash clothes and figure out how to do it the right way or not.
Well, yeah. It just comes down to how important is your survival. So how would you rate it 1 through 10? Is it a 5? So you just pretty much take it easy and slow and steady and just do it whenever you feel like it, or does it mean life or death where you really need a shelter or food or, like you said, clothes washed? How necessary is it for you to have fresh, clean clothes on 1 through 10?
Well, it depends. Is it going to rain tomorrow and the next day? We could just hang them on the tree, put a
That's what I'm
clothesline up
saying. That's what I'm saying.
and
How
put
necessary is it
clothespins
for
on
you to
it
have clothes?
to hold the clothes. And as long as the wind don't come down like a tornado type wind or anything, you could wash them, rinse them, and then dry them, and then put your clothes back on. You won't be a naked caveman no more.
That's
Or
what it comes down to.
you could go out in the rain, take your bar of soap, get all wet in the rain, start sudsing your clothes up because it's gonna suds you up, and then stand out in the rain and rinse it out, And then you just have to walk around with your wet clothes on so they dry. But hey, you're clean, your clothes are clean, and you're good to go. It's conserving water that way. And don't go laughing. It's kind of a joke, but it's kind of serious too. Just saying. You know, it does work. Fur traders would get in the water with their clothes on and take a bath. Even their long handles, oh my, which was their long johns. And they would take a bath that way. You know, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, but you gotta figure it out. You gotta know. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you're learning something and you start doing it, and it's gonna take you a little while, but you'll get better at it. Don't give up. Okay? And you might have to learn how to do several different things at one time. And that's fine. And each thing you do, you might be slow at it at first. Don't give up. And before you know it, you're going to get faster. And before you know it, you're going to get faster. And before you know it, you'll be able to go and have a wood splitting contest with Crazy Ed. You know, they used to have lumberjack competitions where they cut down trees, see who could do it the fastest, cut it up, buck it up, have log rolls. They still do up in La Crosse, Wisconsin, for lumberjack days. Yeah, Cajun Ponix. He's a great person, and he knows how to make that Cajun gumbo. You know, that real Louisiana gumbo. It's good stuff. Okay? And he uses all those fancy spices, like Slap Your Mama, and all of those. So, we know people that can help you with your growing the gardens and stuff, you know, if you want to learn. But I'm going to tell you also, when all hay breaks loose and there ain't no gas, so the guy that goes and tills your gardens for you with his little lawn tractor, you better have some shovels. Or know somebody that can make you some shovels. And you can make shovels even out of wood. That will work. You can make axes out of wood too that will actually cut a tree down. But you're going to need those shovels, regardless if they're metal or if they're made out of wood. Because your garden you're going to have to turn over by hand. Yeah, that's right. One scoop of dirt at a time. That's how they used to do it back in the day too. Okay? It's just like the plow with the horse or the oxen. They'd hook the plow up and they'd plow the field.
Hey,
I
Ashley.
actually, you know, um, and that's how they did it. It took them a while, but they got it done. They got their crops in. They got their gardens in. You know, you can't rush things. You got to be willing to take the time, learn how to do it, get good at it, so it comes second nature to you.
An animal's shoulder blade could be used as a digging, scooping tool, stone, if you can find a good stone, anything.
Yeah, you know. And another thing is,
Yeah, the trenching
you
tools,
don't
yeah.
give up. You do not give up. Just keep your cool. And remember, if nothing else, if you get nothing else out of this whole show, just remember the crazy lady told you no matter what you're trying, that at first you're going to be slow. That's fine. But don't give up. Just don't give up. You might have to walk away for a little bit, but don't give up. Because it will come together. You have
Well,
to
that's
be
right.
willing
And
to do it.
if you go into something, and excuse my language, not knowing shit and learning it for the first time, yeah, it's gonna be hard because you don't have experience or knowledge, or maybe knowledge but no experience. It's gonna be hard, man. Not unless you've done it before. It's gonna be easier because now you have some experience. But if you have zero experience and either little to no knowledge, you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna have a rough time, especially by yourself.
Yep.
But
We're not saying
well,
it's going to be easy.
right, and like JT says, and we talked about it, me and her, and it makes sense. You can't be self gratifying. You have to work at it and work at it and work at it until you either you get good at it, master it, and then learn something else and do something else, and then master that or become an expert at it. Whatever you got to do. So when you got to do it again, you can do it again without. Wait, what do I do? What am I supposed to do? You already know what to do.
So, I mean, even some of your cooking ain't going to be instant gratification.
Exactly, Hawkins, and
You know,
that's the scenario that Aquarius is talking about. What if you're just thrown into a survival scenario? How are you going to handle it? You know?
Hawkins, I'm going to tell you something. I have a couple of children that are special needs, and they don't do good with change. But I've been working with them since they were little bitty guys. And now when the lights go out, they just kind of look at each other and go, "Oh, lights went out, so we don't get to watch TV. Hey, you want to play a game? You want to get a game out? A board game. You want to play cards? You want to go upstairs and do something?" You see, they adjust. They don't miss a beat. You work with them. You teach them this stuff. You get them used to it. You get used to it. That's why I said you do the stuff so it becomes second nature to you. So that if the modern ways don't work, which is the way people do things right now, if the modern ways don't work anymore, okay, you just go, okay, fine. They flipped that switch off, but they didn't flip me off on this switch. And you just change course, and you don't miss a beat doing it. It will make a difference. While everybody's panicking around you, you and your kids and your family's not panicking. You're just still functioning, you
Yeah.
know? So,
You initially brought me up here to talk about hydroponics, and
yes,
so what
dear.
I've done is I've put in there into the chat the channels of Cajun Hydroponics and Grow Something with Jeff. Those two men know a lot about hydroponics, and they've got a lot of great content. They're smaller channels, but they're my friends. They've been with us in Shed Wars. I want to give them a shout out for that. Now, the other channels that I have mentioned in here. Now, let's see here. I left out one. Jandera. Jandera Homestead is down in Australia. She's
Mm-hmm.
got a farm. She's got a great place down there and knows an awful lot about aquaponics. The other channels is Mado Del out of the Philippines, an amazing channel, amazing people down there in the Philippines. And that is talking about where what I'm saying is like, well, that's where the rubber meets the road right now. Those folks are down there being resourceful as you can possibly be in order to survive. And I highly recommend his channel. Lots of information on black soldier flies and aquaponics, especially. An amazing man right there. And then probably my all-time favorite channel and person to learn from is Jack Spirko. He ties in so many different
What's up, Barb Kevin?
what do you call disciplines into his place and shares that knowledge with everybody. He is my hero. And if I have one hero of heroes and one to learn from and to try to do what he does, it's Jack Spirko. Out there in Texas, knows a lot about a lot of things, and I highly recommend his channel. Those are some good things out there for folks if they want to learn what to do. Jack Spirko's is an all-around place to learn. If they want to turn their little suburban home into a place that will help you to survive, Jack Spirko is the jumping off point to do that. For me, that's my recommendation. There are many countless other channels that I followed throughout the years and learned from, so I can't put them all in, but those are some of the big ones. Hello, Our Cabin in the Woods, Brother Tony.
Hi, Our Cabin.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that aquaponics. Aquaponics is not something new. It's something that the Asians have developed, and I'm just saying Asians in general, but they've been using this for a very long time, and a lot of it was used in their rice paddies or whatever they needed natural way, because they didn't have chemicals, they didn't have fertilizers like they don't have the advanced agricultural technology like we had. That's
Hi,
where
Scott.
koi fish and carp came from, and that's why we have them here, because a lot of the Asians that came here do aquaponics here. And so, what do you do when you have a high population of, say, fish? You got to cull them. So they ate them. The carp, the koi, they ate them. In the Philippines, because I mean, I've seen it in the Philippines because I have family there, and they use catfish predominantly, or they'll use carp, or they'll use milkfish. So when they drain their farmlands, they I forgot what they call it, like runoff or something, I think. And there's a lot of videos of it too on YouTube. They'll cull the fish population and harvest fish, so they have food. I mean, they have hundreds and thousands of fish on their farmlands, eating the insects and fertilizing their plants at the same time.
Yeah,
So it's an old practice. It's not something new.
it is an old practice. Now, as far as the origins of aquaponics, aquaponics in different forms it evolved around the world in different spots. One of the biggest, probably the biggest on the planet, got started in, of all places, Mexico City. I'm not sure if anybody is aware of that. The ancient, first peoples, first tribes, the Indians, of South America and Mexico.
Oh, Aztecs?
Aztecs, Toltecs, all the techs,
Right.
from the past. Well, Mexico City used to be a gigantic lake. It was huge. There's very, very little left of it now. And they built their entire society on that lake. And there's a type of farming and agriculture that they do, and it's called a chinampa, which is basically a floating island out there. One of the most amazing things is they make these man-made islands, and they grow on top of those in the lake. So
Hey, what's up, Scott?
it's amazing, and I highly recommend. I'll find one of a video explaining and put that in the chat. But that's what the natives in Mexico City did long ago, and there's still a surviving amount of those chinampas in use today. That's where axolotls come from. The little salamanders with the frilly gills that everybody's going crazy over now in the pet industry. That's where they come from. That's where they live, and they're actually in danger now because of an introduced species. because of tilapia that's down there.
Yeah, I hate tilapia. I don't like
Yeah,
that fish at all.
hey, it's a good fish for protein.
Oh, for protein,
Um,
yeah, but I'm talking about as an invasive fish. Yeah,
that's
I
right.
really
That's
don't care
right.
for them.
It's terrible. It's
Like
a
carp,
terrible.
dude. Carp,
Yeah,
like I
like
was saying,
Asian
carp,
carp.
they're very invasive, man.
Like half of Florida's population of wild animals now are invasive.
Yeah,
You know, yeah, but the chinampas are amazing. You know, they. I'll put a video in here. Let me go find that, and then people can check that out. Um, but aquaponics is not as easy at, like I said, as hydroponics, because you're managing animals and plants and getting that to become in balance the way
yeah,
nature would do it.
yep.
I'm gonna hush now.
He's gonna hush.
Yeah, he's gonna go look for stuff now.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, there's different areas in the world that do different types of aquaponics. India does it. South America does it. It's just a more efficient way, like you said. Once you find the balance, and it's easier to do it if you have farmland. I mean, the ones we see now, like the more modern version of it, they have live tanks for the fish. They're inside tanks most of the time.
Right. Um, Hawkins, you're right. The Asian carp, there's a campground around this area that I know, and they started out. They put a couple Asian carps thinking they were really cool fish in, and they had goldfish in there and a couple other kinds of fish in there, and even the regular carp, American carp, or whatever you want to call it, and the Asian carp started taking over and eating the other fish and killing them.
Yep.
And they had a hard time. I don't know if they ever did get rid of all of them, but there was them. There was the mussels. They had problems with
Yeah,
mussels
those are really bad too. Even here in California, we got them
that
really
weren't
bad.
from this country, and overrunning. They were from like Asia or someplace too,
Yep.
overrunning the rivers and stuff. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, those
So
freshwater mussels are very destructive. They're not good. I mean, here in California, like I said, they're really bad here. Those freshwater mussels, ugh, they're really bad. No bueno.
okay, I don't know what Sean's talking about, but he's got Roman and Martin laughing going.
Laura Laughlin.
Oh, Laughlin. Sorry. It sounded better what was Roman and Martin
Because carp
laughing.
they don't have very much meat. It's a bony fish.
Yeah, it is. But I'll tell you something. I like smoked carp. I don't care.
Yeah,
You
don't
just
get me
gotta be
wrong with carp.
careful.
I mean, yeah, that's the only thing. I
I
mean,
don't
I've had
know if
carp,
Asian
carp
carps
stew.
are edible, but you know. I do know that American carps are good when they're smoked. Just like catfish is good too.
Yeah, I love catfish.
But anymore, you don't want to eat it out of Mississippi River.
Yeah, I haven't had sturgeon in a long, long time, and the Delta down by Sacramento area always has a really good sturgeon season.
But
Oh yeah,
yep, bass is a good one too.
yeah,
Small mouth or big mouth, either way, it's a good mouth.
yep.
Just saying, you know. It's like the old saying: teach a person how to fish, you teach them how to eat for life.
Yeah, you feed them
You
for a
give them
lifetime.
a fish, you only feed them a meal.
Yep.
The three channels that I just shared there, Pete Canaris, Jeff Lawton, and Matt
Chumpus.
Powers, are excellent channels that I have followed for years. I've learned a lot from those men. Um, they're incredible. They have so much to teach people. Most of it is permaculture. Well, it's all, they're permaculture heroes to me, especially Jeff Lawton and Matt Powers. But they're all excellent channels, well worth anybody that wants to learn these different things. And they all have a little something in there about chinampas. The last one is Matt Powers' video, and that was put together over the course of like almost a year. They tried to get that going. It's an hour long, and I recommend people, if they have an hour to spend, at night or something, just hang out with that last video. Even if you're not interested in doing it yourself, it's a neat thing to sit back and watch and see what people are doing. And a lot of neat scenery in that video. But there's so much that people can do to survive, so much they can grow their own food, wherever they are on this planet, that offers a temperate climate. The only thing holding them back is their ties to the existing system.
Yeah.
It's like the Matrix. What if I told you, that you got a choice? You got the red pill or the blue pill.
Yeah, I was about to say you got the red suppository or the blue suppository.
That's right. That's right. We're all just a battery. And they don't like it when we unplug ourselves either. I can tell you that.
What if I want the purple with the pink polka dots and the green stripes?
Well, you can have that one. Okay,
Hey, Rose.
It's your suppository. You can choose the one of you that you want.
Well, but the reason I said that was because it was a third option, and the other two, they have to be identical, otherwise that bird can't fly.
Okay.
So
Yeah, there's endless choices out there. You do not have to pick what is offered to you. And that's where freedom in your mind and realizing that you have freedom and liberty, and you don't have to accept what is offered to you as one of two of false choices. You can go C, B, or whatever else you want to do. It ain't
they
have
don't
to
want to
be A
hear
or B.
they don't want to hear the letters I have to say
Even secret option E, all the above.
in
That's right.
order of which I might choose to use them for.
Yeah. People need to use the existing system to their advantage, to get ahead and to actually pull themselves off of the system. It's there. You've been using it. Just use it in the right way. And
use it and turn the tables on them.
that's
The
exactly
powers to
right.
be, because there's a 1%er club that they're all belonging to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means that there's only a few of them, but there's a lot of us.
That's exactly right. And the only
We
power
can't be
that they
afraid.
have,
We
the
can't
only
be
power
afraid.
that we have is the only power that they have is what we give them.
Right. And they've done a really good job with that power too.
That's right. They do. Most of the animals on the farm are scared. And they just want their feed. They don't want to think. And then there's some of them that's looking up from their feed and saying, "Hey, what's going on here?" And them's the ones just jumping the fence.
Like the pig from Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
Hey, what'd Wilbur ever do to you? He's a pretty cool pig.
But he was a woke pig. He awoken from his just eat, sleep, and shit
Yeah, that's because Charlotte
directive,
took time and liked him, and everybody else was mean to him.
right?
And Charlotte liked him, and then Charlotte made him famous. So
Well, yeah,
then everybody liked him, kind of like Rudolph.
she's the one that told him there's a choice, pretty much.
Yep.
You can be pork chops or be a free pork chop.
Y'all heard about the farmer that actually had a talking pig, right?
No.
No.
Well, there was a farmer and he had a pig that learned how to talk. Couldn't say a whole lot, but he could say a few things. And, farmer took care of him and everything like that. Took good care of him, knew he had something special. And a guy came to the farm one day and saw the talking pig and wanted to buy him. He said, well, I'm not going to sell my talking pig. He said, yeah, I know that he's special. Let me buy him from you. He said, no. And this guy was very, very interested in this talking pig. And he came back to check on the farmer and asked him again about the pig. And he noticed that the pig was missing a leg. And he says, I was going to come back and ask you to buy your pig from me. He says, no, pig's not for sale. And he said, well, what happened to his leg? He's missing a leg. Farmer looked at him and says, well, yeah, he's a special pig. And, you don't kill a pig like that all at once. You just, trim off a little bit at a time. But
Interesting.
cricket. Yeah, crickets. I messed up more good jokes.
No, it was funny.
You don't eat a special pig like that all at once.
Right. You had ham
Little by
soup
little,
with them ham hocks. I
I
got
was
it.
about to say the ham hocks.
Bean soup and ham hocks, man.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good jokes, and I've messed up a lot of good jokes.
You didn't mess it up at all because I was laughing.
That's fine though. It still makes a good story, even though it's supposed to be a joke.
So if you
Still
want
pretty
to call
good.
me a cricket, that's okay because I know you guys could hear me laughing.
Ooh, wait a minute. Maybe that serves as an example for us. Maybe we're the talking pigs.
Could be because they sure think. Well, they think that we're also sheep and cattle.
Well, no, it makes
You know.
sense because they are slowly chipping away, not just at our, like for Americans, our Constitution, but us as well on a mental and spiritual level.
Mhm.
Even physically now, with all the garbage that are coming out with the garbage medicine that they call medicine, which is not medicine, it's just experimentation.
Well, there was a guy, he was an accountant. He was wonderful about economics and numbers. And he did a study, and it took him a while to get this done. And I forget where it is. I forget what video it is or whatever, what article I saw. But he studied the system that most of us are under in the developed nations, especially here in America. And he determined that between the time that you are born and the time that you die, the government gets back 98% of every bit of money that you ever make.
Yeah.
98% of it. And your goal, now see, that money is the middleman. The middleman is a beast. And that's what destroys your life, is having to pay the middleman. But the goal is to not give back so much of that. And y'all notice that they have enacted the I forget what they call it now, the death tax, where you can't leave things to your children anymore. That's one major way that they keep us down and keep us from being able to succeed. They have their systems in place, and everything that they have is transferred to their children, but they don't want us to transfer things to our children.
Right. Because if their children had to work a day in their life, they'd die of a heart attack. Just getting out of bed thinking about getting dressed.
Well, power just stays in power. It's like a government. Government exists to grow and feed itself, just like its own animal. You know,
Yep.
um, but you can continue to give them the power and buy into the system, or you can take that energy and power back for yourself in your own life. And that's where the secretive success for everybody's going to be. It's how much of your own energy can you use for your own purposes.
Actually, Okie Dean, I gotta tell you something. Like everything else, they infiltrate everything good to make it bad. Okay? Now, bartering, that's been around for centuries and centuries and centuries. And even that they have infiltrated it years and years ago. But it's okay. You
Yeah,
know.
and they
We
can't
can
stop
we
it.
can we can go back to using it. But like I said before, if you don't make good trades and you try screwing somebody out of something because you don't want to keep your end of it or whatever, you try jewing them out of something, they aren't the only ones that's going to know it. Other people will, and then they won't want to do business with you. So,
Yeah. Word gets
and I'm not
around.
saying you, I'm just saying anybody in general that tries it.
Word gets around fast. And
Yep.
with the new thing that they're doing now, what they want us to do is to be completely without currency. The cashless society.
Oh, the
Uh,
bitcoins and
Yeah,
the pound coins,
they don't want us to have tangible asset or
that's
tangible
right.
control of things. It all
crypto.
has to be intangible to where, well, you know what? I'm on a computer, but I can't alter the amount or the sum of my bank account. Only the government can.
That's right. It's a continuing effort to dumb us down and to
Yeah.
turn us more into an obedient head of cattle out there.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, um,
Well,
you
believe
have
it or not, a couple years ago, I had a guy at my place of doing business, which was a credit union. And he was a teller there, and he says to me, "Do you have to do everything in cash?"
Yes.
I looked at him and I says, "Why, yes. Yes,
Yes,
I do."
exactly. A big yes.
I said, "I do things the old fashioned way, where a
yeah,
handshake is worth the man's bond,
mhm,
where you pay cash for
cash.
everything. You don't use credit cards for
Yep.
anything." And this man, he proceeded to take money out of one of the accounts and he looked at me and I says, this ain't right. "Well, what do you mean? I gave you your money. Now you go away." I said, "No, you did not.
Hmm.
You only gave me half of it." And I says, "Furthermore, I do things a certain way. You work for me. Because if my money wasn't in your credit union or in your bank, you wouldn't have a job."
hmm
I says, "Now, give me the rest of it." And while this guy was pulling this stuff, one of the other tellers that knew how I'd done it, she was walking by and I says, "We do it this way all the time, don't we?" And she goes, "We most certainly do."
Cash is
Indubitably.
cash is freedom, and digital currency is slavery.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, he was trying to get me to go to Bitcoins or crypto coins, and I'm like, I don't think so.
Yes. It's because that system, that's why I try telling people. There is a system, a controlling system that controls Bitcoin. And people are like, no, no, Bitcoin's going to. I'm like, if you want to make fast fiat money, cash, what we have right now, fine. That's the way to do it. But it's not going to be tangible because they're going to do away with the tangible and you're going to be locked down by, oh, well, we seen you searched for freedom. Well, we don't like that. So we're going to have to demote your points, and you can't make any virtual or online transactions for 3 weeks. And that's the system of control that they've implemented. You cannot search or type something or say something online without them knowing, well, hey, you know what? You said that Biden is a not so good guy, that he eats too much ice cream. Well, we're going to have to, what do you call, oh, send a social worker down to you and evaluate your mental stability, your mental state.
Oh
And then
yeah.
we'll determine, how we're going to discipline you after that.
Hmm.
And how's that going to work for them? They got their hands in trouble when it comes to dealing with me like that.
You have one too many jelly donuts. We see that you purchased these, and guess what? Your insurance now is going to cost you more money because you made an unhealthy decision for yourself.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yep.
well, that's good because I don't buy my jelly donuts. I don't buy my donuts at all. I make them at home and I can say what all the ingredients is I put in it.
Yeah.
That's better what those donuts are that they buy.
Yeah.
That you buy, you can't because they use chemicals and stuff.
We have some, because of how many people we have on the planet now and what is going on, with the collapse of the U.S. dollar being the reserve currency. It, it, there's no good scenario that comes out of these things that
No.
I can see. I can't see any way that it's a good thing, that any good possibility of the next immediate few years is possible. I don't see it.
Okay, first of all, let's break this down. Real easy English here. The national debt, it ain't ours. It's theirs. Okay? They want to keep printing money out of nothing, thin air, but then look at who's getting the money. They are.
Yeah.
It's not us. That is not our bill. But they keep telling you, that is your bill. That is your.
Yeah. No.
No. No, I'm
No.
sorry. Mm-mm. No, no, no,
Mm-mm.
no, no.
Yeah, it's
Because
corporate debt. It is not
grandpa,
national debt.
grandpa and grandma, which would be the young people's great grandma and grandpa. Okay. Yeah, I'm aging myself here, people. Take notes and listen up. They taught mommy and daddy, which is your grandma and grandpa, who taught your mommy and daddy, hopefully, and I pray they were paying attention, who taught you, you know, you don't go spending money that you ain't got. You live within your means. Now, these bozos over here who are yelling, that's your debt, that's your debt. Well, actually, it's their debt. They're the ones that keep getting the money. They're the ones that keep giving themselves raises. They're the ones that keep giving money out to lobbyists and big companies and bailing them out and bailing the bankers out and all this other good shit. And normally I don't talk about any of this stuff, but I am today. Congratulations, all right?
You good girl.
Now, if we all look at them people and say, hey, yo, time to pay up. Bar tabs due. No, we're not doing last call for alcohol here. Pay up now or leave office. You know? The bankers can't make money funding wars on both sides anymore. Just saying.
Well, the day, see, people don't understand. Everyone that's alive, just about, except for a very few people, everybody alive on this planet, except for a very few people, have been under the system of the United States dollar being used all across the planet to buy and sell anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want oil, it has to be bought in U.S. dollars. If you want gold, it's transferred in U.S. dollars. And that's where the United States, in particular, and the Western centralized banks have made so much money for themselves and gained so much power over the earth.
You are
Of the
100% correct, sir.
Okay,
100% correct.
I've got a question. Back when great grandma and grandpa, to the younger people, were still alive, and the government said, we want you to give us all your gold and silver. Because you're not allowed to have it. We have to have it.
That's
But
right.
we will pay you back. Only the
Yeah.
government never did.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that didn't turn in their gold when they were told to turn in their gold. They had some smarts.
Exactly.
They hid it away.
Yep.
And right now, what we face is the shell game of the United States dollar being used anymore to make these hyper leverage deals, thousands and thousands to $1 of over leveraging are gone. There's only because all of these nations now, and they're like, hey, wait a minute, this ain't working anymore. These dollars are, I mean, it's played out.
Yeah.
It's like an airplane scheme, you know. And the other nations of the world have realized this and finally have gotten strong enough to make their own deals, and that's what they're doing. And so now Russia and other nations are going off of their own gold system, a system backed by gold, and no longer United States dollars to do their trading.
Right.
And that's where we as a nation and we that are in the Western centralized nations, England, Canada, Australia, you know, all of these nations are going to suffer. It's a time, it's like, what if you were playing a game of Monopoly and everybody had their Monopoly money, because that's basically what it is, US currency and any other currency. And you're playing Monopoly, and then all of a sudden, all of the Monopoly money disappears. And you're sitting there with your family and friends playing this game of Monopoly, and the money is gone now. And we're in the beginning of that time. The value of these dollars, it will lose its power to do anything in the game. And so now you're sitting around this board and you've got to figure out, well, what are we going to do now? The money just disappeared somehow. How do we finish this game out? You're probably going to, at that point, end your game. You're not going to know what to do. And maybe you start using bottle caps or checkers or something else as little tokens of money.
Yep.
And that's the normal people. Now, the way the game is played, that'll be up to you, but it's going to be a lot more clunky than it was before when you had those Monopoly dollars. But in the world, with what we've got going on, using the Monopoly game as an analogy, the big bankers are going to take the Monopoly game, put it all back in the box, all the little parts and pieces, dust it off, and then they're going to put it back down and let you play again. Only instead of the old Monopoly money, there'll be something new. And that is the time that we are in right now. Them scooping all the houses and hotels and pieces off of the board, putting them back in the box, letting the players do what they want to do, wander around the house for a while. And then that board will go back down and they say, okay, everybody wants to play, you can play again, because all of these properties, they're not owned by anyone, and you can come on in here and start playing. There were some players that are old now and they're no more. Now we've got new players. Here's your money and here's your board. Y'all go have fun. And that's what they're doing with us right now. Wiping away the old system and implementing a new system for new players.
Correct.
Well, they're trying to. But it don't mean that everybody has to,
Yeah,
you know.
Well,
Yeah,
you'll be able to
the
opt
only
out
winning move
and
is not
fight
to
back
play.
in your own. Well, you'll be able to. People are able to do their own thing to a certain point. You will be able. It's like if you're on the ocean, okay, and you can build your own boat, build it as good as you can, and you can survive. Or maybe you don't. But the ocean doesn't care. Okay, so you're gonna you're gonna be able to make it in whatever way possible through this. And if there's enough of us doing it, then that puts a hiccup in things. But make no mistake, you're not going to stop the ocean. You're not going to stop what is coming. Your goal is just to
Surviving.
rebuild your life in a way that you can make a transition through this, continue to survive in as good a shape as possible for when it's over. Okay, when the worst parts of the transition is over, and by then people my age may be dead and gone. Okay,
Yeah, but
because this is
here,
not a quick thing. It's a multi-decade event that we're in right now.
here's
Um,
another thing to this decade ordeal. All right, great grandma and grandpa, they were young. Well, they might be just getting married. They might been married for a year. Been starting their families. They were young people.
mhm,
All right, and they're gone. And your grandma and grandpa, they might be around yet. Can't guarantee that though.
yeah,
Your mom and dad, they could be around. Won't guarantee that. Okay.
yeah,
However, now it's to you and your children. And oh, you might have grandchildren too. Guess what? That Great Depression, it never ended.
that's right. It just kept
It
going,
just
didn't it?
it keeps going, and that's why you don't hear them say a depression. They always keep saying recession. Oh,
Yeah,
they like that word recession. No, it's not a recession. Anything. It's a depression, people.
yeah,
Yep.
Call it
yeah.
what it is. It's like, pinup girls are nice when they're young, but when they're 80 something, they ain't so nice or pretty.
They better know how to cook.
Oh, no, no, no. But they sure do know how to eat fancy ice cream in their fancy kitchen.
Yeah. Well, the words depression and recession are used real commonly, and we all know what they mean.
Right.
But it's really almost an illusion.
Yeah.
Um, it's almost that because those are words im, im, to to get your thinking right. You know what I'm saying? They use those words to get your thinking right. Um, and I'm not sure how to explain myself and what I mean by that, but it's a big con job with
Right.
lots
It's
of
it's
stuff.
to get their mindset right in according to their indoctrination of things. Like we're talking about how we're trained to think and see what they tell us. Not
Yeah,
really left to our own. Well, my understanding of recession, like doesn't really mean that because there's some people that break words down just like they break numbers down and try to find meaning in it. So
yeah,
if you go to the root word of recess and ion to make the word recession, it doesn't really mean what they're saying. That's their own definition
that's
of
right.
recession. So
And
they're
see
telling
this.
us, no, go ahead, Aquarius.
No, I'm sorry. You go
No,
ahead.
I'm just saying that they're just telling us what they want us to know. So we don't have to look into it ourselves. Like, oh yeah, we trust you because we know what you're saying. You're a banker. You're a financial advisor. We trust you.
You
Exactly.
you are supposed to believe us. You are
Yeah,
not
exactly.
supposed to think for yourself. We are the government. We will tell you how to think. We will tell you when you can go to the bathroom. We will tell you how many squares of toilet paper you get to use to wipe your hiney after you take a log out. Okay, got this? We were going to tell you what you can and cannot eat. And if you do not like the bug soup that we made you, too bad. Go to bed. Go to bed hungry. We don't
That's
Yeah,
care.
no soup
exactly
for you.
right.
You know?
That's
No
right.
soup no more. Okay? Oh, you need bread? Well,
Most people
We're not baking no bread today. You're going to have bread in 3 weeks. Okay.
Most people are not chasing the knowledge that they need to. And we're talking
Right.
about recession and depression and the words that they use to condition us throughout the years.
You know,
Okay.
in the Great Depression, they didn't um really run a shortage on the flour because people had to be able to eat bread. Did you know that?
They will be running a shortage on the flour though in the future.
Oh yeah, because
Okay.
you see these people that are doing this, they're the leftovers that ran from what's one of those concentration places called?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're those
Yeah.
guards and that.
Well,
They
we are
ran
all
they
the
ran here
descendants.
and they hid here and now they're starting to show their ugly heads. They raised their family, kept low lives, except for some of them. Some of them are just evil and old.
Yeah.
And
Bottom
they,
line is we're the survivors of, we're the ancestors of, I mean, the descendants of people that survived all of this.
yeah. And they
And
done this in all countries, not just certain ones that you hear about, to
that's
certain
right.
people.
Um, what I was talking about earlier with the depression and the recession and everything. Most people don't search for the the knowledge of the economic system and banking and things like that. They don't go too far. They're into entertainment. There's like,
Yep.
hey, keep me happy, keep me fed, keep me entertained, that kind of thing. Just
Lifestyle
trying to
mentality,
survive
man.
every day. A lot of them in that thinking, they're right now they're thinking about the stock market because the media, conditions us to care about the stock market.
Yeah.
And they think,
Mm.
oh my gosh, if the stock market falls, we're all doomed. Okay. It's not true. Okay. Because the thing is, the stock market is only an indicator of the state of the health of the economy that
Correct.
it is supported by. And people get it mixed up because they are financially illiterate.
Yep.
Not
That's
that I'm an expert, okay,
that's
but
like their straw man. Okay, a fictitious person with your name, only that fictitious person's name is spelt in all caps. Okay? Um, they used to show on Wall Street, but now they hid it so you can't find it. How much money they're all making off of each one of us.
mm-hmm,
They don't show that anymore. They hid it.
mm-hmm,
Okay? They're making money off of each one of every person's names on
that's
the
right.
stock market because of their straw man, pretend person. That's why you all had to have birth certificates. Back when great grandma, grandpa, yeah, we're going to keep going back to great grandma, grandpa. When they were born, their mom and their dad had a family Bible. And that's how they kept record of who lived and who died.
Yeah,
Was in the the family Bibles.
that's right. The
Okay?
family Bible.
They didn't have courthouses back then. If you passed away, they dug a grave, put a cross or something to mark your grave. If they were able to, in a decent place, bury you, they did. If you were on the trail going from here to there and you passed away, they'd bury you alongside the trail,
Yeah,
you know? And they they'd write it down in the Bible or on a piece of paper that you died, and they'd make you a marker if you were lucky, and it said your name and date you died, you know?
yeah.
But that's how
Well,
they used to do it.
and back then technology wasn't much of a thing, and it was a hard day. It was hard to survive in many ways every day. But at least this planet was still mostly untouched. resources were plentiful, and it allowed us to bloom as a species across this planet because the resources were there for the taking, and we did. And now we find ourselves in a massively over the carrying capacity of the resources. The resources have been gone. They're gone now. And so it's not as easy. And now we have so many more people that are surviving off of the last of the resources that were there. The oceans are getting have been overfished for years. All of the easy minerals have been mined out. The land is not free anymore. Even possession and ownership in private hands of land has been eliminated in most places of the planet. We still have some of that, but those days are numbered because, the cattle cannot own their land. They are subject to the rulers. And the people that make up the majority of the voting population are in cities. They don't have land of their own. And a lot of times, not all of them, but a lot of times they're going to vote for things that is not good for the rest of the citizenry in any developed nation. Well, we can't have any land of our own, so nobody should. And I'm talking about this because Scrimshaw Rose is talking about making her own dang bread, and you're right, sister, make your own bread. The question will become, how are you going to make your own bread? Will you make it off of the grains that you grow yourself on your own land if you're left alone to do it? Will you make it from the grain that's available in a grocery store or whatever food outlet is available? Or will you make it out of acorns? Or will you make it out of cattail roots? Will you make it out of chestnuts? Will you make it out of potatoes?
Or how about beans?
Or beans? Yes, I want to make some pinto bean bread, and I hope that's possible.
Anything you can ground into a nice fine powder, you can use.
You can actually
substitute.
use squash too to make the flour.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I think just about any type of vegetable matter can be cleaned up, processed, and dried in order to make bread.
Yeah.
One of my friends down in Australia made some pumpkin bread.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, seaweed if you've got to. That's exactly right. And it's these things that a few of us that are alive today in relation to the rest of the population of the world, we hold the secrets and we hold that knowledge. We stand in the gap between those that have passed and those that are yet to come. And it's our job to make sure that that doesn't die out. And people like What Is She Up To Now, Scrimshaw Rose, God's Night, and many other people with their content out there, their teaching. That's what people need to learn. Tomorrow or 5 years from now has enough problems on its own and they're unknown. The main thing is, how do you stay alive today? And how do you set yourself up for a better tomorrow? My point of view is always whatever you can do yourself and cut out the middleman of money and the systems that it takes, to have the money. It puts you into a better position.
Yeah.
And that's where people need to hear this stuff, and we need to put that content out there. The people, we do this thing called Shed Wars, and people are, the goal is to try to help people do that. To teach people how to be self-sufficient again, to grow their own food again, to survive, and do it in a fun way. We like to have fun. It's a different outlet. Most people do not understand the depth at which I care about these things. But there's only so much way that I can put it out there. But that's what we need to do. People need to get ready. And it's not something that that comes on all at once. What we're facing is a gradual change, a
Yep.
gradual transition that will be punctuated very violently here and there. And then it'll go back to a smooth, you know, transition into the thing. But make no mistake, every day you're getting yourself further ahead or further behind. There's no time for people to waste. Um, you know, it's a very serious time that we are in for all of us. Now, if you're in a third world country, if you're not used to having anything like that, any of the finer things and the easier lifestyle, then don't worry, your day will continue on just like it did before, unless you're receiving donations to keep you alive. And the people of the developed nations are going to be the ones that are counting on donations of food and such to keep them alive. And it's all manufactured. It's a manufactured situation. But whether it's real or made up, it's going to hurt the same. And I don't know, I run my mouth too much.
No,
Sorry.
you're right up. You're right about it.
No, you are Aquarius, but in the correct way, the right way. I mean, your way, your point of view, and so you're not really. It's not a bad thing.
Well, I get preachy, and you know,
Well, I'm gonna tell you something about this Shed Wars deal. Okay, I don't participate in it. However, it don't mean that I'm not aware of it.
yeah,
And however, it don't mean that I don't believe in it. Because you have Homestead Aquarius and you have Mr. Willett Grill
yeah,
Mankini. Okay? Now, these two guys, right now, they're busy. They got the Southern Hemisphere going. Oh, yeah, you heard me right. They have people in Australia and all over, down in the Southern Hemisphere, growing gardens that may never have grown gardens before, but they're growing gardens. And when their summer is over, when their fall is over, that's when our spring is here, right? Well, when
yeah,
their gardens are done, these people are going to take and they're going to weigh their stuff that they grew in their gardens and they're going to see how much they made poundage wise. And then they're going to can it, whatever, how they want to, save it, whatever. And
yeah,
they're going to see how much there is to it. And then they're
yeah,
going to go, hey, I done this much. Can you have it? And this person's going to go, yeah, mate, I did. I made this much and that tops that much to you. Can you top it? And somebody's gonna go, oh, see, I done this much. It tops him and you both. Oh, oh. Okay, and then when it, I know my accent sucks, but hey, I'm having fun here. Well, when their fall is or their winter comes, then it's gonna be spring up here,
yeah,
and then they're gonna start it all over up here for 2022.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Shed War started out as a simple gardening competition, very simple, very focused on just two guys, and it's something fun to do, having a competition, just a simple gardening competition. And then
Right.
we changed it to add teams. Now, that was back in the spring of 2019, I believe. It's when we started it. And we brought in people from around the planet as much as we can. We had people from the UK, Canada, and then we brought in Australia, New Zealand, Africa. Um, but it's we're changing it. Okay, Shed Wars is very much something that I'm wanting to develop and and work into something more than just a simple gardening competition. Um, I'm wanting Shed Wars to become a vehicle where we get information out there to people and inspire people around the planet of what they can do. Um, you know, and we face a lot of challenges. We really do. It's been a struggle this year with some of the challenges that we've had, but it's very simple. Grow food, show people how you do it. What I would love to see is people making acorn bread or cattail bread. I'd love to see them put out all of their different ways of surviving on this planet. Raising your chickens, how do you do that? How do you raise cattle? How do you process your rabbit that you snared or whatever? That's important for people to learn. And I want Shed Wars to become a force of that thing that's putting the thumb in the eye of those that would stand over us and keep us down. Okay, if I can say that,
Yeah, you can say
um,
that.
give back to the power of the people, kind of thing. That's what I want Shed Wars to do. Now, the name Shed Wars, we're looking at changing that.
Please
I
do, because that was confusing to me.
yeah,
I'm
we're
like,
we're
why are
gonna
they
be
fighting over sheds?
we're gonna be
But it
changing
was
it, but
gardens.
I've got a few names, but I'm not just exactly happy with them right now. But we are looking at changing the name so it makes more sense to people. But that's where it started, as two guys fighting over who had the messiest shed. It became a gardening competition, and it
Nice.
evolved. It's grown. Um, it's grown into a platform that, if we survive all the challenges and keep it growing, then that'll be a wonderful thing. Certainly, this information exists out there in so many places, but it's a place to have fun and to build a community of people, to help people grow. This is one of the side effects, people growing their channels. Now, and I say this as I know in my heart that good luck to everybody, because maybe later on this year, one of the last things you're worried about is whether or not you've got a YouTube channel. It's whether or not you've got food for the day, or
Right.
you've got
Yeah.
lights, or whatever else. But
Not only
like,
that, it could come to the point where you have to decide, am I going to have the internet or pay
that's
my heat
exactly
bill?
right.
Pay my internet or feed my family? Pay my
That's
internet or
exactly right.
whatever.
Yep.
You know what?
And
You got to make sure that you've got what you need for your family. The heck
yeah,
with the internet. And not only
YouTube.
that, you get rid of the internet, guess what? You're already starting to slap them in the face. And when I say
That's
them,
true.
that's the powers to be.
That is true. But YouTube and anything like this, any type of social media platform, this is the fluffy stuff on top of the fluffy stuff of a developed nation. But it's still a vehicle to help one another. Uh, they can put out videos for all these women twerking and, showing off their bodies or whatever. You can see people doing all kinds of fun things, adventurous things. It's wonderful. You can also use it to teach people. It's just, what do you want to do? And we want to teach people how to grow their own food and have fun doing it. And,
You mean I
be,
can't hit people over the head with knowledge and say, hey, smack, smack, pay attention here?
you can. Yes, you can.
Oh, no,
I would love to see you join us in Shed Wars and break out some of that old school. Um, make potato bread. Show people how you garden. Um, you know, you're doing. See, that's the thing about Shed Wars and what I wanted it to be. I wanted apartment growers. I wanted people that were growing on their patio. Big farm, little farm, people in their backyards in a suburb, no matter where you are, growing food, because I know in the future you're going to be surrounded by your neighbors and you're all going to need to be growing your own food just to help out. It's like if you don't have to buy $300 worth of groceries for a week, then you can maybe you'll have the chance to spend $300 or $250 to pay for the electricity or the coal or the gas bill to keep you warm, whatever it is. You know,
Yeah.
we're being attacked from every angle possible with the higher cost of living, and food is one of those needs. You don't live without it. If you can provide your own food, then, or at least some of it, that eases you up and frees you up a little bit. What if you don't need electricity? That's even better. You got your own water source, own electricity. If you are your own utility company, then that's all so much for the better. But everybody that are in the cities cannot just leave the cities and go out and put stakes down in the country. There's already people there, you know, and they ain't going to like you coming there. So, but if everybody gets in a situation where they're starving because there is no food available or it costs too much money and you're in the cities, what do you do? You know, what do you do if you're in the suburbs? I mean, it's the time has come for people to wake up. I don't know. And I know with y'all, I'm preaching to the choir, but
Yeah, but it's still good to get it out there because, like you said, the ones watching now and later, it may benefit them if they listen to it and heed it, or they're just, oh, well, this guy sounds crazy, but
I don't
I'm
care
gonna
if they
move on
think
now.
I sound crazy. I'm still going to do it. Why? Because we can help at least one person, and then
Exactly.
that person might not live between. Okay, that person might not live next to Aquarius. Okay, that's Alabama. It might not live next to Guys Night. That's California. And I sure don't want to live up here in Iowa because they don't like the cold.
yeah,
Okay? But if it helps that person wherever they live, and then that person's helping somebody
mhm,
wherever they live, you know, we're still helping others. We're still getting it out there.
exactly. And you know, I don't think that I'm ever going to have this big channel, okay, that makes me lots of money and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But it's like whenever I'm growing my trees, mulberry trees or fruit trees or whatever, you know, I go against the normal thinking, right? Because here's what you always hear when you talk about somebody, tell them, say, plant you some fruit trees, you know, and they say, well, if I go out and spend $25 or $30 on a tree, it's going to take 10 years for that tree to produce me fruit. So why do I want to do that? Okay, well, here's the thing. Society grows great when old men plant trees under which they will never sit and enjoy the shade thereof or the fruit that it produces. So we need to have that thinking. It needs to be about our descendants. And so I'm raising trees from seed as well as cuttings and things like that I have
Right?
done. I've given away so many. It takes that for a society to survive and to grow great when you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about your descendants and the descendants of others. Um, if everyone has their own fruit trees again and there's food everywhere growing, well, guess what? It gets to be an easier living for everyone, not just you, but for whoever would become your enemy as well. If you and your enemy have both got plenty of food, plenty of water, plenty of everything like that, then it gets harder and harder to find something to fight about.
Right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Now, but people need to get out of the idea of that everything has to be for them and them alone. They're not going to live forever
That's
anyhow.
I
You know,
don't.
we
As far as this channel goes, no, I don't. I don't have any intentions to ever monetize. Never have.
Yeah. Well, I hope one day
I
that you
do
do
this.
receive that blessing. You
I
know.
I do this for the grandkids. I do this to help others. I do this to learn from others. Okay?
Yeah.
And no, I don't care about making money. Why? Not from YouTube. Why? Because I am not their monkey. All right? I'm not going to jump through their hoops, play their games by their rules. No,
Yeah.
because they only give you peanuts of what they make off of you.
That's
Okay?
exactly right. They pimp us
Now,
out.
what I would like to do is, because I have other platforms besides this one, and most people don't know what my name is. But the other platforms do, maybe.
You have to share those
Anyhow,
with me privately.
I will. Anyhow, in fact, I follow you on one. um. Anyhow, I would like companies to send me products so I could check them out, so I could try them, so I could use them. Okay? Yeah, I'm big into manual tools. I know how to use some manual tools. But I also know how to tell you if a product is good, if it's worthwhile. All right? And on every product that I do a product review on, I've had to pay. So guess what? The companies can't tell me, well, you have to say something good about my product. No. And if you send me your product and it ain't worth a hoot and a holler, and I go to do a product review, guess what, companies? I will tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right? Example. I bought a GoPro. Nobody ever heard me say anything about GoPro, have ya? Nope. Could be a reason. Not even the company will back up the product.
Mm.
To the point that I went and I got a hold of the BBC or the BBB, Better Business Bureau. Yes, that's it, the three B's.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even get the company to respond to them. They do not back up their products at all. Not a.
I just want to address Rose real quick. The thing about nebulizing like over the shelf medical grade hydrogen peroxide, it's poisonous to you if you breathe it in. We're not supposed to be ingesting that. There's a food grade uh, peroxide that you can ingest that's actually good for you, kind of like food grade what was it, diatomaceous earth.
Yeah.
That's okay, but if you're desperate to treat the what's going on right now, I mean,
A
I'm not
nebulizer,
comparing. I'm not saying it, but you're just not supposed to breathe in or ingest, have hydrogen peroxide enter you in any way whatsoever. It's
a
not safe for you. It's
nebulizer
poisonous.
is for breathing treatments.
Yeah, I know that's what she's talking about, but
And
I'm just warning her on that
yeah, but
because it's poisonous.
listen. Okay, guys. Now, back in the day, great grandma, yeah, that crazy lady, she had that wood stove, and she'd put some menthol, like mint, out of her garden into the water. Well, then they began making menthol, you know, even Vicks. And she'd put a little bit of that in her pan, and she'd warm the water up. And she'd throw a towel over your head, and she'd tell you, put your head above this pot of hot water with the menthol in it. Put the towel over your head and breathe. You were getting a nebulizer treatment that way. Okay, that's before they had the nebulizer machines. All right,
You got to get
because you're
that big
opening.
going.
Yep, you're opening up the lungs and you're opening up the bronchial tubes. And then you start coughing. That's fine. You know why? You got to cough that phlegm out, and you spit it out. You don't just cough it up and then swallow it because all you're going to do is fill your stomach up with phlegm. And believe it or not, that battery acid in your stomach cannot digest phlegm. You
Yeah.
have to throw it out, as in throw up to get it out. So
I like
that's
to
why,
use
huh?
I like to use cayenne. I eat so much cayenne pepper. It cleans my nose right out. Gets it going. I can breathe freely after a meal.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to explain, but yeah, your hot spices, um, they'll open you up.
Yeah.
You know, that's why a lot of people that eat hot spices, they don't get too sick. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
I put some
There's
chili
another
dust in my.
treatment. There's a treatment where they're using Everclear alcohol and Manuka honey in a nebulizer, and that's pretty interesting. Um, the Everclear goes down into your lungs, and it does the same thing as dry gas does in your gas tank to get rid of the water. It evaporates out the liquid and cleans your lungs out. Now, do your own research. I haven't done this. I don't know about it. I've just heard about it, and I've heard that people are seeing some very good results from it. Yes, ma'am. Scrimshaw Rose Manuka honey is very expensive if you even get the right stuff. Because anytime there's something that's expensive, there's a lot of fakes out there.
Yep.
So counterfeit Manuka honey it is all over the place. So make sure that you find a reputable source for it. But I think that the main part of it is the alcohol as a treatment for helping folks breathe better. But do your own research and see what you can find out there if you want to. I bear no responsibility for that.
I was gonna say,
Colloidal
we're
silver.
not medical. We're not medical anything. So we're not giving
That's right.
medical advice or anything like that. Yeah, this is my
Yeah, not about that.
crappy disclaimer. But I've never heard of Manuka honey, and I never heard Everclear being used for breathing treatments.
Yeah, it's
So
a
I'm learning
relatively
something.
new thing that I've heard about. It's
Yeah.
relatively new. I do have a friend that has used it, and she is swearing by it. She has the big C, and she's using it as part of her treatment. And I'll find her video on that posted in the chat. Let's see. I'm trying to think right now. What is it's a prep for it. Tasha with prep for it. Let me go find that video. I'll paste it in the chat.
It would help if I unmuted myself, wouldn't it? Hey, Patty. We're not trying to be downers. No, 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 no. We're trying to give you some helpful advice. Some encouragement. Okay, and most importantly, don't give up when you're learning something new. Never, ever give up. Gotta keep trying. You'll get better at whatever it is you're doing, you know? And you might see it in your head, and you might go, okay, yeah, I can I can see this very clearly in my head. But anyhow, um making it come to life is a different one, you know. So don't give up. You might have to adjust something a little bit here and there, you know. But it's okay, you know. Um it we're going to get through this. We're going to help each other. We're going to teach each other. Um we're going to be encouraging as much as we can, you know. Huh?
A lot of times, this is, I just posted two videos. One is where she's going over the recipe, and one is where she's actually using this. And so you can find it easily there. Again, not doctors here, you know, so do your own research, all that. But the, the media and society is conditioning people to say, well, this is, you know, y'all Debbie Downers and just cramping my style and making us sad or whatever. That's what they want you to do. You know, they want you to, you know, to demonize the people that are trying to help. And for, again, for everything that's bad out there, there's an equal and opposing side of good. Um, and that's important to remember. It's not all bad, but there, you know, you've got people out there telling you to get ready, and people can put their head in the sand. People can walk away. People can have apathy, whatever, different stages of shock, and don't disturb my world. And they are the ones that will be affected the hardest. That's what they want, is to keep people in a happy, calm state right up until the end. Whatever that end is for each and every one of us. So, but the things that we're talking about gives people power. Um, you know, it's almost like people sitting outside having a good time, and the wind starts picking up, and there's clouds in the distance that are getting closer, and somebody comes out, it's like their dad comes out or their mom comes out and says, "Hey, y'all kids, you kids from the neighborhood, go back to your house. My kids come in the house. The storm's coming, and you got to quit playing outside. It's been a great day for playing, but now it's time for everybody to go home because we've got a storm coming." And all the kids are sitting there and they're mad at the parents for doing that. Well, Mom, just a little while longer. You know, we were just about to do this. No, time's up. You know, and that's kind of what it is. The kids are upset and they don't understand that, you know, you're helping them to survive another day so that they can play together again. You know,
Right.
and that, they try to demonize everybody for that. Let's just you know, it's like, you know, smiles, everyone smiles, like Mr. Rourke would say. You know, just keep it going.
And
Rearrange
another
the deck
thing
chairs, don't stop standing.
another thing is if if we practice so we get better at something that we want to learn how to do or that we think we need to know how to
Mm-hmm.
do in the hard times to come, then when we do need it and the hard times come, we'll just use it naturally. We won't have to think twice about it. It'll just come to us naturally. So it's a smoother transition
Yeah,
in that way. All right, that's what we're trying to
yeah,
encourage. We're trying to help you figure out or help get you to think about, okay, what will I need to know? Well, how will I do this? Well, gee, maybe I should try it a while. Try it here, try it there, whatever, until I get better at it. That's fine. But at least you're doing something, so that way whenever you know you have a SHG, be it a tornado or whatever, you're prepared and you can just switch gears and still function with smoothness. And that's not a downer. That's actually encouragement. We're encouraging you
Yeah. I mean,
to do what you can, to learn what you can
the
to help
people don't look
yourself.
at the weatherman as saying, well, yeah, I mean, the weatherman is sitting there telling you there's a possibility of tornadoes, and people are not freaking out, and calling the weatherman a Debbie Downer. They're saying, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. This is a real and present danger. You know, I'm going to pay attention to it. They don't do that to the weatherman. The weatherman's going to keep them safe, or try to. And that's where all of these people are trying to do the same thing.
To answer Patty's question, no, that wasn't on a video that Aquarius done. That was a picture that a friend of his done.
Yeah, this is Tasha at Prep for It. She's been a prepper for a long time, and she's dealing with the big C right now, trying to get through it. And that is what she has shared.
So, it's just some information. And like we said, do your due diligence and research it. Okay, God's night. Thank you. And yeah.
Well, we got slipped out on us.
No, he has to go run errands.
Okay.
I'll talk with you later, God's night. But yeah, we're going on 3 hours.
Yeah, it's been fun though. And,
no, it has been. And like I said, you're welcome to come on here anytime you want, because
I can't believe that it's been 3 hours, darling, because I really didn't mean to be up here for 3 hours.
That's okay.
But I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy that you're here.
To be here.
And God's night is too, because we actually learn from you, and we learn from other people in the chat room and stuff, and we're just we're encouraging. That's why we called this broadcast, or whatever you want to call it, this chapter of the ordeal, winging it through the new year, or winging in the new year.
That's right.
Because nobody can make plans right now about what they want to do in 5 years. Why? Because we don't know what's going on in 5 years. You can't even do it for a year. You can't even do it for 6 months. We're all winging it.
It's changing by the day, changing by the week and the month, and 5 years out is a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's the best use or one of the best uses of the platform. Like I said, there's good people sharing and trying to help teach others, and that's what you're doing. You need to keep up the good work. Keep bringing people together.
Sometimes I'm not sure, how we're gonna go about it, what we're gonna talk about, because we don't have anything scripted. We just talk about what's on our minds, what's on top of our heads. We listen to what the chat room's saying, like, bye God's night. Bye God's night. Have a great day. Everybody's saying talk to you later, God's night. Oh well. Anyhow, he's a young man that's very nice.
I want to hear more from him. I'm going to have to see what he's up to. That guy's got a lot of good sense and knowledge to share, I'm sure.
There could be a reason for it. It could be because he was a Marine like my late husband.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
yeah.
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 Um.
If he was a Marine, then he's definitely seen the Philippines, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But let me get off of here and let you know. Thank you very much. I'm honored that you had me up here, and
Hey, I'm
I
honored
hope
that
that
you came.
I hope I've helped you more than I've hurt you. So,
Oh, you
darling,
are,
have a
honey.
wonderful day, and you stay warm up there in southern Canada, which is known as Iowa. Okay.
Yeah. We're
So,
we're one. There's one state between Canada and us, and that's Minnesota.
hmm
You know.
I've got to go. Remember to dump some water out of some things because it's gonna get cold tonight. Don't want him to bust.
Right.
Walk the dog and do a couple of other things. But you're a blessing to all of us, and we appreciate you. So take care of yourself, and thank you again. I'm going to go now.
All right. Thank you very much, and you're a blessing as well. And guys, I cannot believe there's no words for me to put it in what Homestead Aquarius means to me. Um, and God Night, he had to run and do some business. He's got a life too, you know. But thank you very much for coming. And remember, we'll be here again next week, same time, same station. Have a blessed weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.